Hello, everybody. It's another exciting episode of Idea Time. Today, I want to talk about a story that I worked on as a kid. That was originally supposed to be a video game series. The way it happened was that I've watched television, and movies, and video games, and there's this whatever it's called. There's this common, man, I forget the word. It's not trait. Anyway, it's a very common premise. There's somebody who's seen as a super genius, or a genius, or whatever, really smart bad guy, who's actually a complete idiot or moron, depending on how you think about it. And I said to myself, what if you had a villain who is truly smart and intelligent? From there, I came up with the idea of the Game Master series. Now, in the last couple of years, I've learned that Game Master is also the term used to describe the person in Dungeons and Dragons and other games like that that's in control. I did not know that, and that is not why it was named Game Master. It was named Game Master because it was supposed to be a game series, and the idea was that he was good at games and everything was a game to him. That's all. Though there is dragons in the story, but not dungeons. And there isn't magic, it's all science fiction. But the idea was that you had this human. It slowly became that you had a human that was created, genetically created human, who was supposed to super adapt to the environment and the world around him and all this stuff. He was created to stop a war, but before he was even done being created, the war had ended. And so you essentially have a human that's created a weapon that doesn't have a war to fight. After that, he disappears for a while. There's more to it than that, but I'm just going to do the broad strokes. He eventually gets to the point where he raises an army of his own, and a huge war takes place. And there's where a majority of the story takes place is basically an alternate world version of Greenland, where all the greatest scientists of all the world have come together to build this kind of science world kind of thing. A secret society where they're building the latest technology, and sometimes even technology that's not safe for normal experimentation. Anyway, the idea about it would be that you'd have these different stories, and every story would have different main characters, different heroes that would be the characters of the story, and the Game Master would always be the villain. But there was more going on in the story. A lot of the story was like you would help people, right? You would save them or thwart his plans, only to find out that part of his plan was for you to succeed. A perfect example of that was the first story, which, like I said, involved dragons, where he sets this game up with the leaders of the dragons, and because you kill them to, beating the kings of these dragons, then the Game Master is able to step forward and take control of the dragons completely. In the same way, over and over, the story progresses where things are working out for him, not necessarily in the way that we thought, the person as the players are. eventually it would lead to aliens and all kinds of stuff. The universe would be, half of the human population would be thrown halfway across the galaxy. All kinds of stuff. All bonkers. The idea of the villain figure kind of being just a mystery. And you never know what he's going to do or how he's going to do it. Or that whatever plan you think you're thwarting is actually a part of his plan. Anyway, it was just a nice thought. I'm sure there's a lot more I could go to details about each of the stories and pieces and how they all come together. But that's a story for another day. Thank you for listening and enjoying. Again, if you have any comments or ideas about it, I would love to hear them. And maybe I'll speak more of this again on another time. I know video games aren't necessarily something that everybody enjoys, and the term game master might have negative connotations for some people. But still, this is for fun's sake. This is not supposed to be serious. Anyway, have a good day. I will see you next week when I do another idea. Until then, don't go chasing waterfalls. They are very skittish and will run away.